In this episode, you'll discover what science actually knows about spontaneous remission and why your body might be far more capable of healing than you've ever been told. You've been told it's incurable, but here at Renegade Remission, we believe in rewriting the story. If you're facing a terminal or chronic illness, you are not alone. I'm Eleni Welch, certified nutritionist, and each week I share healing strategies and remission stories to help you take control of your health, feel better, and rediscover hope. Welcome back to Renegade Remission. By the end of this episode, you'll understand what spontaneous remission really is and what it isn't, what medical research has uncovered about why it happens, and you'll hear a documented case of a real person whose body did the impossible. If you stay through to the end, I'll share simple steps that can help you support some of the same biological pathways involved in spontaneous remission. Steps you can begin today. The phrase spontaneous remission may sound like something mystical, rare, or maybe something you hear about occasionally and believe in, but never expect to see in real life, let alone in your own. But here's the truth that nobody tells patients. Spontaneous remission is real, medically documented, and it happens far more often than most people realize. It's not magic, it's biology doing something unexpected, something that doesn't fit neatly inside of a statistic or a prognosis. So today we're going to talk about what science knows about spontaneous remission and what it still doesn't know, and most importantly, what it means for you in your journey. But first, let's begin with a documented spontaneous remission that challenged every assumption doctors had. This is one of the most fascinating things ever documented in cancer research, and it comes straight out of a peer-reviewed medical literature from Dr. Steven Rosenberg and the National Cancer Institute. In several of these documented cases, patients with metastatic melanoma, one of the most aggressive cancers we know, were preparing to begin experimental immunotherapy. They'd already had their diagnostic scans, they were scheduled for treatment, and everything was lined up. But before starting therapy, doctors ordered a routine repeat scan, and that's when something completely unexpected happened. The tumors were shrinking, not stabilized, not slowing, but actually shrinking before a single dose of treatment had been given. Naturally, the medical teams assumed there must be a mistake, so they went deeper. Biopsies were taken of the regressing tumors, and what they found was astonishing. The patient's own immune cells had infiltrated the tumor. Their bodies had recognized the cancer as a threat and had launched a coordinated attack entirely on their own. There are several of these cases, and they are all published in well-respected journals studied by leading cancer immunologists, and they proved something science had long suspected but never fully confirmed, that the human immune system is not a passive observer in disease. Under the right conditions, some of which we may not fully understand, it can rally itself, reorganize its defenses, and do what most people are told is impossible: make a tumor shrink without medical intervention. These are rare cases, yes, but they're real, and they opened the door to much of what we understand today about things like immunology, metabolic therapies, and the ways lifestyle factors like nutrition, stress, and environment might influence the biology of healing. Despite that it seems scarce in the literature, spontaneous remission is not random or accidental, and it's available to everyone. In medical literature, it has a very specific definition. It's the unexpected improvement or disappearance of disease without conventional treatment, or beyond what would normally be anticipated from treatment alone. This definition comes from the landmark Spontaneous Remission Annotated Bibliography by O'Regan and Hirschberg, published by the Institute of Noetic Sciences in 1993. That document compiled more than 3,500 medically verified cases, ranging across nearly every category of illness: cancer, autoimmune disease, cardiovascular disease, neurological disorders, metabolic illnesses, and even certain infectious diseases. And importantly, those 3,500 cases represent only what made it into journals. Many, many more stories exist, but were never formally published. Spontaneous remission is not just a fluke, it is a documented biological event, and medicine may not still fully understand it, but it also can no longer deny it. So here is what science does know about spontaneous remission and why it happens. Let's break down the leading theories, each supported by real research. The first is that the immune system suddenly wakes up somehow. Many spontaneous remissions show signs of sudden immune reactivation. For example, an article published in Nature Reviews Cancer in 2021 by Matsushita et al. Shows that tumors and the immune system are in constant interaction. Changes in inflammation, metabolic environment, or tumor signaling can cause cancer cells to become visible to the immune system again. This helps explain why some spontaneous regressions involve a sudden coordinated immune attack, just like the melanoma case documented by Dr. Rosenberg. Your immune system is not static. It can obviously recalibrate and do it unexpectedly. The second theory is that inflammation drops and the body can repair. One of the strongest biological explanations for spontaneous remission involves changes in inflammation. Chronic inflammation doesn't just accompany disease, it helps drive it. When inflammatory markers run high for long periods of time, the immune system can become less precise, less vigilant, and more overwhelmed. It has a harder time recognizing abnormal cells, repairing tissue, or mounting coordinated attacks against disease processes. For my nutrition clients, I often compare this to a guard defense surrounding a city. Imagine if the soldiers that were sent to protect a city never got to sleep and were constantly fending off attacks 24 hours a day. They would become tired and a little bit erratic eventually because they couldn't keep up with it forever without ever resting. That's what it's like when our immune system is triggered due to inflammation that never ceases. But when inflammation decreases, whether that's through metabolic changes, stress reduction, microbiome shifts, or other factors, then the immune system can begin to behave differently. It might become more accurate, more discerning, and more capable of restoring balance. Research reviewed by Philip Calder in Nutrients 2018 highlights how lowering inflammation can shift the entire internal environment towards repair, sometimes in profound ways. This doesn't mean that inflammation alone causes or reverses disease, but obviously it means that lowering inflammation can open doors for healing that were previously closed. The third theory is that hormonal or stress state shifts change the body's internal environment. Many areas of research focus on how changes in stress hormones and emotional states influence the body's ability to heal. In some documented spontaneous remissions, people experienced a major life event, whether it's a deep emotional release, a significant mindset change, or a moment of profound surrender or acceptance before their health began to change. While we can't always say that these experiences necessarily cause remission, they certainly altered the physiological terrain in meaningful ways. Studies in psychoneuroimmunology, particularly work by Federius Dauber, published in PNAS in 2009, show that chronic stress suppresses immune surveillance, while reductions in stress can enhance the immune system's ability to detect and target disease. Stress hormones like cortisol directly influence immune function, inflammation, and tissue repair. When stress levels fall, the immune system often becomes more coordinated and effective. Emotional shifts therefore influence remission through measurable changes in our physiology. The fourth theory is that microbiome changes can affect immune behavior. This is an area of explosive research. Many studies have shown that gut microbiome composition strongly influences immune responsiveness and things like anti-tumor activity. While much of the research that's published focuses on treatments like immunotherapy rather than spontaneous remission, which isn't well studied, it demonstrates how quickly the immune system can change when the microbiome shifts. The fifth theory is that epigenetics allow disease-causing genes to turn on or off rapidly. Epigenetics is the way genes are expressed or silenced, and it offers another explanation for how dramatic healing shifts can occur. Gene expression is not, as we once believed, fixed or static. It responds to diet, stress, sleep, environment, relationships, and emotional states. In fact, gene expression can change within hours or days, altering immune activity, inflammation, metabolism, and cellular repair. One of the clearest examples comes from the landmark Ornish trial, published in Lancet Oncology in 2008, where men with low-risk prostate cancer underwent lifestyle changes involving nutrition, movement, stress reduction, and emotional support. Within just 3 months, researchers observed significant downregulation of inflammatory genes and upregulation of tumor-suppressing genes, demonstrating that the body can reprogram aspects of its own healing machinery quite quickly. Spontaneous remission may represent the most dramatic end of this same spectrum. It's a sudden shift in gene expression that transforms the internal environment in ways medicine is only just beginning to understand. And the sixth and final theory we'll discuss today is that fever or infection can trigger immune recalibration. Historically, particularly in cancer cases, physicians have observed that some tumors regress following acute infections or high fevers. Modern reviews explore these cases and suggest that broad immune activation may, in rare instances, trigger anti-tumor responses. While it's not a standalone treatment today, it does illustrate how dynamic the immune system can be. Some remissions can occur after acute viral infections, bacterial illnesses, or high fevers, so it seems that the immune system becomes activated broadly and can begin attacking abnormal cells. It just needs something to wake it up. Now I want you to understand what spontaneous remission does not mean. First and most importantly, spontaneous remission does not mean that you caused your illness, nor does it mean you failed if remission has not happened for you yet. It also does not imply that healing is simple, effortless, or guaranteed for everyone. It does not mean you can always will or think your way into a cure, although we are exploring ways in which that can be a very powerful way of achieving remission. Rather, spontaneous remission is a reminder that the body is full of mysteries, some of them far more hopeful than we've been taught to believe, and it reveals that biology is dynamic, not predetermined, that prognosis is not a prophecy, and that the body has capacities even experts cannot fully predict. Spontaneous remission should never be used as pressure or comparison. It's a proof of possibility, a reminder that healing can take unexpected forms and your body is not done surprising you. If remission can happen without treatment, and we obviously know it can, then remission can absolutely happen with treatment, alongside lifestyle change, or alongside emotional healing, spiritual growth, community support, or integrative care. Here are some practical action steps you can take today to begin supporting your own remission story. The first is to support your immune system's ability to wake up. Prioritize sleep, whole foods, fresh air, hydration, and gentle movement. Small shifts can influence immune behavior. The second thing you can do is reduce inflammation in one simple way this week. This could be lowering sugar, adding vegetables, avoiding processed seed oils, or choosing real food over processed food. Your immune system can feel and respond to every change. The third thing you can do is practice a 2-minute nervous system reset, whether it's slow breathing, humming, singing, prayer, or grounding. All of these things activate the vagus nerve and can lower stress and improve immune precision. The fourth thing you can do is tend to one emotional weight you're carrying. Whether that's writing a letter to someone that you never actually send, crying and releasing the pain you've been carrying emotionally, journaling about a past experience or a trauma and how far you've come since then, talking to someone who helps you feel safe, reaching out to a support group, or creating a community where you can share openly and freely about something in your past that's weighing you down. Whatever it is, your immune system responds to emotional release, and it is one of the most important things you can do to support your healing journey. The fifth and final thing is to read or watch one real remission story. This podcast is a great place to start. I share remission stories in almost every episode. Another great resource is Kelly Turner's research from Radical Remission, or Andrew Weil has books on achieving remission. Mind Over Medicine is another great book. Check out the 3,500 cases published by the Institute for Noetic Sciences. Whatever it is, find just one real remission story and allow it to boost your hope. Spontaneous remission is not random or unachievable in the way that we might usually think it is. Yes, your biology is doing something remarkable when it happens, but it's also completely possible. And it's one of the clearest reminders that our body is not our enemy and our future is not written in stone. You are allowed to hope. You are allowed to believe that your body can surprise you. And you are allowed to take the next small step towards healing today. In our next episode, we'll talk about why doctors so often get prognosis wrong and the biology of unexpected survival. So stay tuned, and as always, go be renegades.